try and do a quick, but probably not so quick, screencast in which we will create a new service through the Django service wizard, setup wizard, um, build out a very small one, get it running in Docker Compose, add the repo to GitHub, push the Docker container out to the registry, and then create a Helm script to deploy it, and then hopefully deploy it to a cluster. I'm just going to wing it, so you're going to have to bear with me. I'll try and clean up any stalls later, but for now, we're just going to go and jump into it. So, and CSH shell, which I hate. Okay, so I'm going to go into my buildly folder, and I have my CLI tool here, so I'm going to go ahead and go into that folder, and we're going to run the service wizard here. So we're going to do source init.sh, and I believe it's start. We're going to check. We'll run the help here, and we want to, let's make this a little bigger. We want to create a new service. No, we want to, yeah, we do. We want to create a new service. So we're going to get out of ZSH again. And we're going to go back to the buildly, and then the buildly CLI. And we're going to source init.sh. And we're going to do create service, and the framework will be Django. Now it's just setting up, running that in the container, and it should give us the prompt afterwards. And any second now. Okay, here we are into the microservice wizard. So now we'll set up, we'll call this the short URL service. And that's what's going to be used to create the main folder structure, and then the application itself, we'll just call it short. Was created successfully. Add Docker support. Yes, this will just create the Docker files. Add Travis. Yes. Travis successfully. Okay. Add Docker registry support. This part we don't necessarily need, so I'm going to say no to that. Swagger docs. Yes. Type in the display name, so we're going to call it short URL service. Okay, type in the description, URL short and test. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. So now it's created that. You can find your new project inside the wizard folder, which is where we should be. There it is. So what we need to do now is go into the service wizard and find, let's make sure we are where we think we are. So we go into the Django service wizard. Oops. And we can see short URL along with a couple other services I've built in the past. So I am going to move short URL back up to my project directory. So I'm going to go into, I'm just going to move this into Media Mash. And then, do I have a service directory there? I just put them in the main level. So I'll add that there. I'm going to go back to Media Mash. Make sure it's there. There it is. I'm going to create a new directory called services Oops, not that. Services. I'm going to move room management into services. And I'm going to move, which is the other service that I'm using, my test service. I'm going to move that in there as well. And now I'm going to remove the weird service directory called Cervix. And we're going to go into services now. And there they are. So we'll go into the short URL, and it should be pretty well configured. So I'll open this up in Atom so we can see it a little better. And for the most part, it's just a vanilla configuration. It has the Postgres configuration for Docker Compose. Everything's set up with the short URL names. I'm running on port 8080 for Django. It has the default public key that still says Bifrost, and it should not say that. It should say Buildly. I will change that. That is a ticket that we need to assign, hopefully to Jefferson and not me. Build, not Buildy, Buildly. Okay, and Docker entry point. Again, missing piece here is make migrations. That's also another ticket that we need to open. If Carla happens to watch this, hopefully she'll do that for us. And then we have our entry point for GUnicorn, the Docker file that will then be created, and that this is what will actually run, and then the Docker entry point code will run, and then a Docker file for Nginx, which we use for proxying the port 8080. So here we have our requirements. These are the base level requirements, and our for coverage, Flake 8, and then production. So basic things I'll set here. The other things we'll have here is a collect static to if we need to collect static for using the admin, a test run script, and a wait for. That's because of the TCP port that we have to wait for to get rolling before we can get Docker running. So then we have the application file with basic migrations set in there, a model which is blank, view that is blank, and then we have our settings and configuration, base, and then production. So this should have all of the configurations we need to get the Django REST framework up and running, and the JWT authentication back to the host. You could still say this says Bifrost here too. And this says Bifrost, and it should say build me. And this says Bifrost. So if you've seen these before, this could cause problems as well in terms of authentication. So you want to double check those. And then our installed apps and our process. And so what we'll do now is we will go in and make a basic model for our URL shortener, which, as it happens, I already have one ready for us. And then some basic views and a serializer, and then that will go through our URLs, and you can see we've got our REST framework here for configured for that for our short URL service. And then we've also got our Swagger endpoints and Docs endpoints, all the things we need in order to make this ingestible by the core. So I will go through that next, and this is, I'll stop here and then we'll come back and do that part next. But this should have everything you need to get running. In fact, what we'll do is, before we leave, we'll do a Docker Compose build. It should get us up and running in terms of all of the configurations and the Docker container running. And then we will do a Docker compose up so that we can see the test configuration up and running. In fact, we could probably just use this without any other configurations and see if we can get it to run. And I guess we should probably do some sort of model. So we'll go through that. As soon as this is done, we'll put in a really simple model and we'll go from there. All right. I'll pause this and we can come back to it.